A Mortal's Journey to Immortality Episode 272. In the previous episode, Han Li faced a deadly yellow-robed spell warrior, skillfully countering his attacks with a combination of blue flame swords and precise coordination with a mysterious woman. Despite the old man's desperate defense using his magical treasures, he was forced to flee as a tiny nascent soul, narrowly escaping Han Li's golden net. Han Li then turned his attention to the chaos across the battlefield. Witnessing fierce battles between groups of cultivators, massive stone giants, and terrifying black mist that could kill with a single touch. Along the way, he rescued Taoist Shattered Soul, who immediately joined the fight against two relentless Moulan sages. At the end of the previous episode, Han Li's attention was caught by an unexpected presence, a large, embroidered robed figure concealing himself at the top of a blood barrier, revealing no trace of his position until now. What will happen next? Stay tuned. And the story continues. With a sweep of his spiritual sense, Han Li found that the large embroidered robed man actually possessed a late nascent soul cultivation. He was a Moulan Divine Sage. Wasn't it said that the Moulan only had 3 divine sages? The sudden revelation caused a flash of surprise to cross Han Li's mind. But he quickly steadied himself. Before he could fully react, the large man reached out, his hand seemingly grabbing the very air in the direction of an incoming lightning bead that Han Li had prepared. Alarmed, Han Li hastily commanded the bead to change its trajectory. But it was too late. A massive azure hand materialized, solid and indomitable, holding the bead firmly in place as if it were weightless. Han Li raised his eyebrow, a calm precision entering his movements. With a swift series of incantation gestures, he detonated the lightning bead's restrictions. Gold and azure light erupted from the bead, scattering in every direction and obliterating the massive hand in a brilliant flash. The large embroidered robed man merely snorted, his composure returning with a flicker of azure light across his expression. Han Li stared silently, evaluating this formidable opponent. Finally, the man spoke, his voice carrying a cool detachment. "Are you Han Li, the cultivator that wields the golden lightning bamboo?" Rather than answer, Han Li probed. The Moulan should only have 3 divine sages. "Who are you?" A faint smile curved the man's lips. "Good, since you recognize that I am a divine sage and remain calm. It seems you are indeed the one divine sage Zhong spoke of. My name is Tian Zhong, the 4th Moulan Divine Sage." Han Li's eyes narrowed in disbelief. "The 4th Moulan Sage? This is the first time I've ever heard of this. Regardless, that hand of yours seems incapable of restraining the lightning bead. You haven't been in the late nascent soul stage for long, and your cultivation hasn't fully consolidated." Tian Zhong's sneer widened. "It is true that I have only entered late nascent soul for a few years. But do you really think you can be a match for me? Your arrogance is remarkable." At that moment, a woman's voice cut through the tension. "If he were alone, perhaps, but I am also here." Han Li felt a surge of relief and joy. The spell warrior's expression hardened in surprise. "Who are you?" The woman, radiant in red robes, floated effortlessly in the air, her gaze cold and sharp. "I did not expect that after 100 years, fellow Taoist Tian would have advanced to late nascent soul. Your abilities have grown significantly. Let us see if they match your reputation." Recognition flickered across Tian Zhong's features. "So it is Lady Feng. But you came alone. Aren't you afraid something might happen to Long Han? You and your husband usually fight together." Lady Feng's voice was calm yet firm. "No worries. My husband is protected by over 1,000 cultivators. Even if you divine sages attacked him personally, you would not touch him. I am here merely to test the abilities of the 4th divine sage. Fellow Taoist Han, go ahead and rescue the others." She raised her arm, extending her fingers. In her palm appeared a bottle, glowing red with a raging flame that seemed alive, writhing like a creature within the crystalline container. The Firespirit Bottle. Tian Zhong's face darkened, and Han Li, recognizing her power, streaked away in a flash of azure light. Tian Zhong's expression stiffened. He tossed a spirit beast pouch into the air, which erupted in rainbow light, releasing 2 identical winged beasts with the body of azure eagles and tiger heads. Heavenly tigers, Han Li gasped, recognizing these rare beasts capable of both wind and earth magic. Though only in late core formation, they were far from ordinary. The two heavenly tigers roared, spreading their wings, disappearing and reappearing near Han Li as if he were prey. The light surrounding him vanished, and he stopped abruptly. Instant movement. Han Li cursed inwardly, recalling tales of demon beasts capable of teleportation. Escape would not be easy. Tian Zhong did not stop with the heavenly tigers. In a blur, he created an identical doppelganger of himself, entirely enveloped in a screen of dazzling azure light, appearing almost like a hollow projection. External incarnation, Lady Feng exclaimed in alarm, recognizing the technique but noting its unusual presentation. The azure light doppelganger lunged at Han Li, passing through Lady Feng's area unimpeded. Tian Zhong followed, producing a sparkling rainbow wheel and sending it floating toward Lady Feng as rainbow mist. She struck the Firespirit Bottle with a spell seal. The bottle trembled before unleashing countless threads of living flame, coiling and forming into massive crimson serpents that charged to meet the rainbow mist. Explosions echoed, and Han Li immediately knew the battle between Tian Zhong and Lady Feng had begun. Meanwhile, he faced the two heavenly tigers and the azure doppelganger. Realizing he could not free the trapped cultivators in this state, he quickly handed lightning beads to Silvermoon for a rescue attempt. But no opportunity presented itself. The three immediate threats required his full attention. Han Li reached for his spirit beast pouch, summoning a swirling cloud of gold-devouring beetles above him. Clutching a hand incantation, he disappeared into the swarm. A loud buzzing erupted as azure flashes split the beetles into three divisions, each rushing toward a different enemy. The azure doppelganger coldly observed. Gold-devouring beetles. If fully mature, they might have posed a threat. It sneered. The two heavenly tigers recoiled. Wings spread, showing momentary fear. The doppelganger unleashed three massive beams of azure light, each trapping a swarm within a 3-meter-wide sphere of solid energy. Han Li directed the beetles to line along the barrier walls to devour the traps. But the dense wood attribute spirit energy proved difficult to break. Realizing the combined threat of the azure doppelganger's restrictions and the heavenly taiga's instantaneous movement, Han Li felt the battle growing intense. Indeed, the Moulan's higher echelon had assigned Tian Zhong the task of eliminating Han Li. Heavenly tigers and restraining treasures had been provided for this purpose. When Han Li unexpectedly entered the wagered battles, the fourth divine sage had to confront him directly. Long Han, noticing Han Li's intervention, had sent Feng Bing to assist, knowing her presence could shift the tide in favor of the Heavenly South Alliance. With the gold-devouring beetles still trapped, Han Li's concern deepened. The heavenly tigers regained confidence and, in a series of azure flashes, disappeared from sight. Han Li summoned a blue shield before him, while a swarm of sword lights revolved around his body, forming a strong defensive barrier. The heavenly tigers returned, spitting blinding orbs of light toward Han Li. Calmly, he split the sword lights, shattering the orbs and sending fragments toward the beasts. The two spirit creatures, realizing the danger, teleported away once again. Han Li readied his sword lights to pursue, only for the azure doppelganger to launch another attack, forcing him to divide his focus further. As Han Li battled the doppelganger, the larger war began to unfold. Long Han and the shriveled old spell warrior signaled their forces. 7 white-haired nascent soul cultivators emerged from behind Long Han, each wielding an ancient treasure. As for the spell warriors, a troop of nascent soul spell warriors flew out, the woman surnamed La amongst their ranks. Under the shriveled old spell warrior's signal, she carefully took out a bronze lantern from her storage pouch and held it in her hand. In this episode, we saw Han Li facing off against the newly revealed 4th Moulan Divine Sage, Tian Zhong. As the battlefield intensified, with the help of Lady Feng and her powerful Firespirit Bottle, Han Li had to contend with the heavenly tigers and Tian Zhong's azure light doppelganger, while also trying to rescue the trapped cultivators. The clash of lightning, flame, and spirit beasts showcased the tremendous strategies and abilities of both sides. giving us a glimpse of how dangerous and unpredictable the wagered battles have become. What happens next? Stay tuned for the next episode of Immortal's Journey to Immortality. If you enjoyed this episode or found it exciting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive the latest updates on Han Li's journey. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.